Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Live Boldly with Sarah. Today we're going to be talking about those little things in life, right? And the little steps that we oftentimes don't embrace, that we don't sit with, right? We're going to be talking about how important those are because we are oftentimes talking about big goals. We're talking about big, bold moves. We're talking about those big mountains that we climb. And we don't oftentimes enough sit with how important the littlest of things are. Because if it wasn't for the little things, we wouldn't have those bigger things to achieve. I oftentimes, there's something that I say, a really good quote. You can go ahead and use it, write it down, put it on your refrigerator, put it on the mirror in your bathroom. Life is not about the destination. We all know that. It's not even about the journey, though. Living, is about embracing those moments that make up the journey that then lead us to our destination. That is something that I learned a very long time ago. And it is something that I have, well, actually learned to embrace more and more and more as I have aged. Now at 50, I can sit with the moments in life and not even worry too much about the journey, because I know that if my moments are intentional, and if I am embracing them, and if I am living in them according to my own values, right? I always talk about the values. If I'm living in my values each moment, I know that my journey will unfold as it is intended to my destination, which ultimately for all of us, as we know, is leaving this earth. So I want to kind of back up for a second, though, and let's talk about another journey, shall we? We have our very last Grand Canyon retreat coming up, June 9th through the 13th of this year. We are doing this differently and passing the savings on to all of you because, well, why? Why are you doing this, Sarah? Well, because I wanted to make it a little bit more available for everyone. So this is 50% off our past retreats, and how we are doing it differently. We have 2 calls prior to, we have 2 calls after, and you get a one-on-one call with me, which is, I got to say, my call yesterday with my former client, or with my client from my last retreat. What did she say to me? She said, I am so glad. I am so blessed. I am so glad that I did this retreat because it changed my life. She said, I feel like I am alive again. I've heard that so many times from people. That is why I'm doing this a little bit differently, because I want to offer this to more people, to the masses. That said, we limit it at 8. So you can only join if you are one of the 8. And I am really curious what this group of 8 is going to look like. We do have people already signing up. This is co-ed. Please do not be afraid, because it's the Grand Canyon. This is my job. This is what I do. And I will tell you, I've been doing this for a long time. I have hiked that canyon hundreds of times. Well, maybe not hundreds, maybe in my dreams. It's been hundreds, but I have hiked it. I don't even know how many times. I couldn't even tell you. It doesn't even matter. What does matter is that I've seen how many times people feel, they think that they can't do something, when ultimately, when they put their mind, their heart, their body, when they put their spirit into it, when they lean against people like me who have done it several times before, everything is possible. And that's where they find that version of themselves that they didn't know that they had within themselves. This particular retreat, if you are looking to transform your life, if you are looking to do something that you've never done before, to stand in that adventurous space, that creative space, that space of, I want to walk out of here feeling so freaking inspired and empowered that I can step into my life like I never realized that I could before, that I wouldn't be able to had I not had this experience. If that's what you're looking for, then definitely message me, and you can be one of the 8 too. Sarah@sarahschultencrayons.com. Now let's dive in, or just message me through my, Instagram, Facebook, whatever. Get in touch with me and we will make that call happen. Again, though, these reservations need to be in within the week. So please, please, please message me now, as soon as you get off listening to this incredible podcast episode. So let's dive in. So the little things, we are really good as humans to chase that shiny thing, to move super fast in life, to not slow down and appreciate the present moment, and to appreciate be in gratitude for those things that ultimately do give us the biggest pleasure, by the way. I was thinking about this episode and I was like, okay, well, what if I had to sit with 10 things that give me so much pleasure, that give me that space of appreciation? What are the littlest of things that I can sit with like every single day and say, I had 10 moments of happiness in my journey of these 24 hours today? So these are the 10 things that I want to sit with all of you. When I get up in the morning, one of my favorite things to do is to go and make my cup of coffee. I love my cup of coffee in the morning. And I love pouring that cream into my cup and then pouring the coffee in and just watching it, right? Watching it just come together. And that very first sip is one of the most amazing things for me in my morning. It wakes me up, not because of the caffeine, it's because it heightens my senses and it welcomes me into my day. So that is one of the things that I love. Another thing that I was thinking about, my hugs. I love hugs. I learned that a 10-second hug helps the body fight infections, eases depression, and lessens tiredness. I give a lot of hugs on the GC retreat, not because people are crying necessarily, it's just because I love hugging. A 20-second hug reduces the harmful effects of stress, relieves blood pressure, and ensures a healthy heart. So think about what one hug can do and how you having that hug today, how much that can actually help you in your journey towards tomorrow. My third thing, walking barefoot. I love, love, love walking barefoot outside. Um, when my dog was alive, I used to walk every morning in my robe. I'd put my robe on and I would walk barefoot down the street, regardless if it was raining or if it was a sunny day. The feeling of the earth under my feet, even if it's concrete, gives me this feeling of groundedness, right? It grounds me to my present moment, helps me to stay present within my day. So I love walking barefoot. A fourth thing, late night FaceTimes with somebody that you love or early morning. There is something about connecting, not through, well, first of all, texting. I text, but I would rather pick up the phone. And there's something about being able to see somebody, right? When you're having the conversation versus just listening to their voice over the phone. And so being able to FaceTime, which is such a gift. I mean, when you really think about it, do you remember when or not even FaceTime, but when Zoom or when, what was the thing before that? Any kind of, being able to see somebody on the screen. I remember the very first time that I did that with my dad and Skype. I Skyped my dad and he was like, whoa, this is crazy. I can actually see you. And I am outside of Madison and you're in Milwaukee. I'll never forget it. I was sitting on my living room floor. And it's moments like that where you can see somebody, because someday you're not going to be able to see that person. Someday that person's not going to see you. So why not take it next level and do a FaceTime with them and actually see their face and the look in their eye, being able to make eye contact with somebody and have that conversation. Such a gift. Another thing that I love, that was number 5. Another thing that I love, planning trips. I love planning trips. I love planning the GC trip. I get so excited just watching this group form behind the scenes and saying, oh, well, I thought they would join. That's interesting. Wonder what their obstacle was, or what their barrier, or what their imposter syndrome or saboteur was. I love working through the resistance with my future clients to get them to the GC to a point. Sometimes I'm like, you know what? This is on your time, not mine. I love, though, when people call me and they're like, I'm really resistant to this because I'm afraid of heights, or because I'm afraid of being in a group with people, or because I'm afraid of whatever it is, right? I'm afraid that I'm not physical enough to do this. I love working through that resistance with all of you in planning these trips and watching everything unfold. This is what I was telling my client yesterday. She goes, there's so much work for you. And I'm like, yeah, but I love watching your journey as much as I have walked through mine. I love watching people step out of their comfort zone and step into the space of what they didn't know that they could do. There is something so amazing. It's kind of like for me, watching my kids when they were younger, make that first basket or score that first goal. I'll never forget my oldest son's very first soccer goal. I will never forget it. There was something about watching his achievement that made me so freaking happy and brought so much joy to my own life that then exuded more joy out for others. And that's what it is for me in planning a trip. That's what it is for me doing this work with all of you. That's what it is for me sitting here with all of you. I don't know who's listening to this right now. I don't know whose ears are tapped into this. Yet I know that my words will eventually hit those ears that need to hear them. And I just love that. I love all of it. It just like gives me so much happiness. Anyhow, so that would be number 6. 1 is coffee, 2 is hug, 3 is walking barefoot, 4 is late night FaceTimes, 5. Oh, was that 5? Gosh, look at that. That's 5. 5 is planning the trip. Okay. So, and then number 6, journaling. So journaling, we're going to be next week. I have my next podcast episode. Sylvia's coming back, which I'm super stoked about. And we're going to be talking a little bit about the power of journaling. Journaling is hard for me, my friends. You should have seen me writing my book. I think I lost hair from pulling it out. I'm actually not joking. I have to tell you, journaling is difficult. Number 1, I can't read my own damn handwriting. Number 2, my hand gets tired. And number 3, I just think, now maybe this is some of you as well, my thoughts come through faster than I can write them. So I'm going to give you a little tip for journaling. If you are like me and you have a hard time writing stuff down, pull up your phone, and I've mentioned this before, and journal verbally into your notes. Verbal journaling into your audio that is within your phone. There is something about saying things that brings forth more for me. Like I can speak and I can talk quickly. I can produce my words and unfold my thoughts in a different kind of way than I can when I'm writing stuff down. So when I'm talking about journaling, I'm talking about many different ways of journaling, including for some people, their Instagram feed is their journal, and that's great. Whatever it is for you to use as an expression of self, being able to pull out your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, whatever it looks like to you, your storyboard of your life, that is what works for you, and that is what you should be tapping into. Sometimes it changes. By the way, as we've gone through hard times, difficult experiences, traumas, if we're walking through a hard time in our life right now, what we once were able to do, even reading. For me, when I first went through my trauma 11 years ago, I had a hard time reading and really being able to process the words through my brain because my brain was just not online. And then as I've come out of that, things have shifted and I've been able to write differently. Now, when I wrote my book, I didn't write it like some people actually still write them, longhand. I wrote it on the computer and I typed it out and it worked great for me. And even that, though, it works great and it was still very, very hard. So that said, today, writing and typing is a lot easier for me than it was because my brain is much more online today than it was 11 years ago in trauma. So anyhow, so pulling back to that, journaling is really important because it does give us a catalog of our thoughts and our feelings and our emotions. And so whatever way that it works for you, make sure that you are doing that. Now, my number 7 is going to sound really funny because I used to never do this, and it is waking up late. I went through a stage where I could not wake up late, where I could not sleep in. And now I am lying more still, you could say. And I am allowing myself to sleep more. I am settling into surrendering to my own sleep more and not moving all the time. Movement is something that I needed to do to work out, the difficulties that I was in. We know that trauma stores in cells, just like if you see a dog that all of a sudden is shaking after something had happened to them, what they're doing is they're literally getting that experience out of themselves on a cellular level, energetically. And so for me, for a long time, I was in constant movement. And what's beautiful is now I don't hike fast, I hike slow. I don't paddle fast. I paddle slow. I don't feel the need to paddle 4, 5, 10 miles. I can paddle 3 and be just as happy as I was when I used to paddle 10, because my where I'm happy now is literally in this slow down peace mode like I never was before. It's pretty cool. So waking up late is a huge thing for me. Number 8. Okay. The number 8, I would have to say, being in a car with my sons and sometimes their friends. I have had more deep conversations in the car with my kiddos, playing games. Like, I remember I was coming home from a water polo match with my son. Was it water polo or basketball? I don't know. I've done this with both of my boys. And I started asking some of the craziest questions, like, what is, and we would do this game, right? Where I would start with the crazy question and then they would have to ask a crazy question to the next person, where it would be like, where has been your favorite place to ever play basketball? Or where has been your favorite place to ever dance? Understand that my kids would look at me sometimes and be like, wait, what kind of a question is that? You'd be shocked though. Where is your favorite place to ever play basketball? There have been some really interesting answers that have come out of that, including different countries with different people. So then that person would have to turn to the next person and ask them a question that sounded, might be a little off the wall or crazy or not. Who is the teacher that you have loved the most? Who is the teacher that you would love to have as your um, sibling or parent? There's so many good questions that we can ask kids that then can draw out conversations that we wouldn't be able to have otherwise. So that is definitely one of the things that I've always found to be one of the highlight, the simple pleasures in my life. The other thing, dancing with my dog. I loved dancing with, I loved dancing with Bailey. Bailey since passed away, my 3-legged pup, but I loved dancing with my dog. That was one of my greatest pleasures. I'd pick him up, I'd put my little hand underneath his butt because he only had 3 legs and he had lost his one of his back legs, and we would dance, and I'd put his arms, over my shoulders, and we would dance in the mirror. And I loved it. And I would, talk to him. And so if you have an animal, or what about dancing with somebody that you just care about? What about dancing with yourself? I mean, I love doing that too. So that is number 9. And number 10, one of the simple pleasures for me is doing chores around the home with those people that I care about. I don't know what else to say. I love doing the dishes with my kids. When my kids actually do the dishes, they don't listen to my podcast, so I can say that. This weekend, I put birdhouses up with somebody that I care about, and it was so much fun that I had not actually like dug a hole for a birdhouse forever, because I live at the beach and I don't even have grass. It's the simple things of doing chores around the home that for me gives me so much satisfaction, and also gratitude for the fact that I have a home, because so many people in this world don't have a place to live. And so when we can pull it back and look at the simple steps, right? The simple pleasures that ultimately allow us to also step into our greatest goals, our greatest dreams, right? Because it's in those moments of gratitude that we can then have gratitude for our journey that ultimately is going to guide us to our destination, whatever it is for you in your life. So if you are, for example, if you are looking to build relationships, then how about the simple pleasure of being in the car with those people that you care about and asking those important questions? If you're looking to, create, or to, if your goal is to move into a larger home, have gratitude for the space that you're in right now, while you're also creating that journey, while you're unfolding that journey to that home that you ultimately want to buy. You see what I'm saying? So it's in those little simple pleasures that we are creating the foundation, taking those steps to our ultimate, within our journey to our ultimate destination. So that is what I want you to focus on through next week, please, until we hit our next episode, which is Sylvia. And we are going to be talking about journaling. And remember, we've had Sylvia on in the past, and Sylvia is one of our greatest guests, and she gets a lot of people talking. So if you have any questions that you would like us to have, any conversation that you want us to have, her and I together, please go to my inbox messaging or send me an email, sarah@sarahchiltoncrans.com, and we would love to touch on something for all of you. With that, though, in your journey right now, I want you to sit in your simple pleasures, and I want you to have gratitude, give yourself a hug, turn to somebody that you care about, tell them that you love them, dance a little bit more, sit in the car with patience and have those conversations, walk barefoot outside, have a cup of coffee, cup of tea, and when you're taking that first sip, be grateful for it. Really let the warmth touch your lips and your tongue, and as you swallow that and it goes down through your body, give gratitude for the fact that you have that. Plan that trip, and when you are, oh yeah, for those of you interested in the GC, you want to come, I will have fun planning that trip for you. FaceTime with those people that you love. Don't simply send a text or a phone call. Make sure that you are getting enough sleep as well, because that is one thing that I didn't do for a very long time, and now I am. With that, I want you to also share with me, what are your simple pleasures? Go into Instagram, go into Facebook, send me a message through LinkedIn, and share with me what your simple pleasures are. So in LinkedIn, go ahead into the comment section within the post, and please share with me what your simple pleasures are as well. I love you. Thank you for being here. Please rate, subscribe, push this into the world, this podcast into the world, and let's be ripple for one another as well. I love you. Thank you. And have a wonderful, magnificent, beautiful rest of your day.